Tony Dattino doing my Live with Tony, and this is my Wednesday 5 o'clock hour, doing it at 3 o'clock hour. After 4 o'clock today, I've got a crazy evening, late afternoon, early evening, and I want to make sure I don't leave this out of my day. So I'm doing it a bit early. Welcome. It is almost 90 degrees here in Windermere, Florida today. Not sure what it's like right now. Temperatures, though, I'm hoping it's not 90 degrees. It's a little bit too hot, though. In any case, I want to finish something that in my broadcast on Monday, my laptop again goes crazy with these Zoom sessions, or with the Facebook sessions, excuse me, with my Live with Tony Facebook, and I finished the end of that with, and we're uncertain in terms of what's happening to our kids and teenagers and different age groups and different sexes, and whether they're male, female, or what have you, and we're losing our generation without considering all the impacts of lockdowns due to COVID-19. And so the closing of that uncertainty, and it's making it harder for people to remain positive. And so there's the challenge we've got with the level of uncertainty we have, and COVID virus and lockdowns and vaccines and variants that are taking place. Science is swinging us on a pendulum. And more science is not as exact as we would all like it. And, you know, I think about saying science is not all of what we want it to be sometimes, and being very dogmatic and pragmatic. So I wanted to, so that's the closing of what I was not able to finish on Monday. So that's Mondays. Now let's get to Wednesdays. Very, very interesting. The fundamentals, and the laws of friendship. This was an interesting article out of the New Science magazine article, all about why do some friendships last and others fade? What are the hidden rules of relationships and what our social styles should be? So it's very interesting. In the 6 elements of brain health that we talk about in our Maximum Memory Mastery online course, we talk about one of the critical elements of well-being is our social interactions, and our ability to build the relationships and have people who trust us and be trustworthy and be trusting of them, and how that works in terms of our life expectancy, and how it works in terms of elements for brain health. So on average, we spend 20%. This is an interesting study they did, but they found that on average we spend 1/5 of our day in social interactions. That's almost 4 hours a day, based on how many hours of sleep you get, that we are engaged in social interactions. And I found that very interesting. And we're either doing that in our past, we would have done it eating with people, maybe we're phone calling with them, maybe we're talking with them on a distance basis, maybe it's we go out store and we see people, but we're spending anywhere from 3.5 to 4 hours a day being socially interactive with people on a regular basis. Of course, that isn't, you know, what we just do, but what we find is that 40% of this time is devoted to 5 people. Now that's an interesting piece that they found in the survey. So what does that mean? So we spend 40 time of the 4 hours basically just circled around a consistent group of 5 people. We call those our inner circle, or in a group of people that we listen to. And so 40% of the time we spend, the 4 hours, is spent with a group of 5 people. And that's what we call our support clique, our inner circle. And another 20% folks in the next layer. So we start with this inner group and circle, and then we go to the other group. And so that's a good part of our day. And then, of course, the remaining people that we see fill out the rest of our day. So now what does that mean that we do? Well, who's in our inner circle? And what are the boundaries and the parameters that define who these 5 people are? So I found that very interesting. And there were some interesting differences between men and women in that inner circle. So could any of you think of what those differences are in that inner circle? Because in the research they did, men want to do things with their inner circle of groups. So we want to go out and play golf, or we want to go out and have a beer together, maybe we want to watch a basketball game together, maybe we want to go to a ball game, but we want to do things together. Maybe we want to go fix a house project together. So men are looking for that contact. They're looking, not contact physically, but let's go do something together and let's go work on it together. So let's maybe, read a book together and talk about it, or let's go out and play golf, or let's go out and do something where we're being socially connected in a physical place. What they discovered is women are not the same. So for a female, they're saying, as long as they can talk to somebody, they don't have to be doing something together. They need to be socializing in a conversation, which I found rather interesting. But now what problems does that present for us during COVID times? Well, we can probably go out to a golf course and play golf. I think that's been fairly open here, and at least in Florida it certainly has been. And so we can go out and maybe play around the golf, but now if we're going to have a drink or a beer after the golfing session, outside. We don't want to go inside. We want to be more careful about the droplets that we keep reading and hearing about. We don't want to go inside of the domain. We don't want to go inside people's residences at this point. We want to be very mindful of not sitting down in an inside restaurant and having a meal with our male friends or our male associates. We want to be careful of touching, right? We got all these parameters that we hear from science, and we want to be careful of that when it comes to contacting with our male associates. So we're in that let's do it together kind of thing that's now been restricted to some level by the COVID boundaries of what we want to do to basically stay alive. Now, on females, on the other side, the survey they did, as long as we're talking to somebody and we're able to at least get on a phone with them and maybe go see them in a park at a distance, maybe the kids go play together. If you watch kids playing, it's an interesting thing to study, and just watch kids in a playground and how they go out and play in the sandbox, or they play on the swings or on the sliding ponds. But those are some of the things that were interesting in the survey. But now here comes 6 rules for keeping your pals. First of all, you want to stand up for your friends when they're absent. So if you're having a conversation or you're together with a group of people, you want to stand up for your friends. So if somebody makes a critical comment about them, you want to at least be there to say, wait a minute, let me tell you about another side of that person that you may not be aware of. And I've seen it because I've been their friend. So that's one that you want to do. You want to share important news. So what are the elements of important news? So, hey, what's happened since the last time we spoke? Number 2 item is, what's the important news? What's changed? We met somebody else. They say, hey, what's new this week? And so it's a dear friend of ours who we meet once a week. And so what's happened this week? So you want to share the important nuggets of some of the things that happened during the course of the week. We want to provide emotional support. We want to be there for them when they're in need of. We all have our ups and downs. We all go through our cycles of stressing, anxiety, being anxious about things. So we want to be aware of, does our friend need our support at this point in time? Trust and confide in one another. Sometimes being a little bit vulnerable, letting people see that other side that shows a bit of that vulnerability, so that you have the trust in being able to do that, and then you're not going to get whacked back with that. It's not going to be used to be a detriment to you, and so you have a good friend that you can confide and you can then talk with. And volunteer to help when a friend needs you. If there's something that we have here in our neighborhood, if somebody's out traveling, they're going to be away for a few days, all right, we'll look after your mail, we'll look after your house, we'll make sure that we're observant of anything that might not look normal, that we need to go in. Like I have people, when I go back up in New York, we have neighbors that regularly will come in and run the water in the faucets and flush the bowls and take the car out for a spin. That kind of support, is it there? And try to make your friends happy. So it's an interesting thing during this day and age, and this is sometimes tough. we socialize with a couple of different groups of people at a distance, and I'm trying to always focus on, so what are some of the positive things that we can talk about? What are some of the things that are happening that are bringing some joy to each of the people that we socialize and talk with? What were some good experiences that happened? And of course, we will talk about some of the challenges and some of the stresses and anxieties we have, but can you keep that in balance? And so those are 6 rules for keeping your pals. So quick, stand up when they're not present and give a different perspective of them. Share the important news of your life with them, that you would like to share those special things that are happening, good and bad. Provide them emotional support when you need to be able to do that. Trust and confide in one another. Volunteer to help when a friend needs you to be there for them. And then try to make your friends happy in the kinds of conversation that you have. There's more to this article. I try to keep my Facebook Lives to less than 15 minutes. There's more to this article. So we got the pillars of friendship, and I have some more things that I want to reveal to you in this article. So I will pick these up on my Friday evening broadcast. But until then, have a good afternoon, and we'll see you back on